everybody. I want to try an experiment. I did it a little bit earlier where I used a little stamp that I have that I normally use for things like polymer clay, all that type of thing. I want to see if I can make a little imprint here and then float it into a keychain. I did this one earlier. I'm not sure if you can see it so nice. It's got a very nice finish. The gold was accidental because that was left over from when I was doing some gel prints, but it actually came out really nicely. So I'm doing it with UV resin, and I have started, just to save some time, I'm using my usual Kristal UV resin, and what I've done is I just mixed a little bit into my little silicone cup with some mica powder, black mica powder. Because it's now an opaque color, I have ready to set the front, and then I flipped it over and set the back, and I'm just doing another extra layer just for just to be on the safe side. That's going to be my background, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some mica powder, and I have this awesome steel glue. I'm just going to take a little bit of that and just wipe it, dab it rather, onto my stamp. And remember, with mica powder, less is more. You don't have to pour on too much because you're still going to get a very nice effect. So let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. We have our black base. Okay, so there's that. Now remember, when you're using your light, you want to keep your resin far away so you don't set it by mistake. Even though it's in a black bottle, you want to just, best to be safe. So what I'm doing now is I'm just putting a very thin layer of the UV resin on top of my stamp, and then I'm just going to manipulate it out into the ends. And the reason I've done a black background is because I find the black always shows the interference powders really, really well. So this mica powder is a white interference powder, and I'm hoping it will really be a good contrast so you can see how beautifully it changes color. So that's not wanting to go to the edge. Come on. There we go. Right. One of those. And then if you want to, you can always just clean out your little pot while you're busy setting your resin. Okay, so let's see how that's come out. That looks good. What I'm going to do in the meantime, while I wait to take that out, I'm just going to quickly put a little bit of resin on top of the black so that it can settle a little bit while we take the stamp apart. Okay, so hopefully this will come off. Oh yeah. And that's come out very, very nicely. So we can trim the edges. Just to make it a little bit neater. But you don't necessarily have to, because this will also kind of dissipate into the resin. Well, it should. I'm hoping. As I said, this is an experiment, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, I think that's good enough. So this is going to be the top, and I'm going to want to put this, I think, that way, and then pop it in so that it connects nicely to the resin. And I think what I'm going to have to do is just hold it down for the first couple of seconds while it's working. If you feel it's heating up a little bit, you can also use your little silicone stick. Okay, that looks quite nice. But now, of course, I've been holding it down with my finger, so I've got a bit of finger marks on here, so I'm going to just quickly dome it a little bit. And spread it out nicely. I'm going to put a little bit more in. Always watch that bubble when you first squeeze. Okay, let's make sure it goes all the way to the edges, and then also where the little stamp doesn't fit in properly, then by doing this you'll fill in your edges and get a nice smooth finish. If you have time as well, it's also nice to just let it settle. But I'm not sure if you can see there's little spaces where it's pulling away. So if you find that you can just manipulate it, maneuver it around, because this is going to be your top, so you want it to be nice and smooth and perfect. I'm going to just add a little bit more resin. Yeah, that's better. I can see already that the resin has gone over the little hole, so you've got to watch out for that. But you can always poke that hole a bit later. Okay. Let's test it and see if it's okay. Yeah. Right. Let's see how it came out. That looks very cool. Let's check the little hole. Okay, the hole is okay. We'll have to do a bit of a clean up. It's difficult to see with this light. Let me see if I can get some more light on it. Really difficult to see in this light. I'm not quite sure how everybody does it. I'm not being very successful with filming it in this light. But you can see it's got a little bit of a blue tint, and you can see the design of the flowers underneath it as well. But I'll do a separate photo of it when I'm done.